Devlog number 18. I'm still feeling spread kind of thin, but I've managed to work on a few things since last time that are sort of visible. So I was in the midst of doing so many things, mostly trying to get this map screen together. So I kind of have something going. This is the beginning of a spatial map. So there... Why are you blue? Because you're clear? Yes, that's why. Right, okay. Forgot how my color coding worked. So I have an outline font here. I added an outline variant of the font that I use for everything here. Where are you? Let's see, how do I do this? Like, I have that open. I'll show a thing in it in a second. I think I want to do this. No, I tried this last time and it doesn't work that way. Okay. How did I do this again? I always forget how to use my computer when I record one of these. Open with image manipulation program. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so this is actually a separate font from the non-outline one. I wanted an outline version of this just so that it would be more visible no matter what background it was on, because just white text here didn't show up as well as I wanted it to. This is the non-outline version. I'm not entirely satisfied with this, but at least it's legible. Anyway, yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, like, you could have, what does the data structure for this look like? Man, I went into this with such a good plan, but now I'm just not following my plan at all. So test scenario. Let me see what I've done here, because it's been a little bit since I looked at this specific thing. So there are map zones. A map zone theoretically will have a background image. This isn't really implemented yet, other than just like reading the string out of this file. But the idea being that like you'd start this scenario in the zone of whatever this is. So I could have like some kind of background here showing, I don't know, terrain or some kind of like parchment looking map or whatever the scenario creator, which at this point is just me, would decide to put back here, or just nothing. It could just be on the sky here. You know, this is the one there is encounter 1. That's the one that's clear. Encounter 2 has been seen. Encounter 3 is not, and it has that little blue light on it. It is nice to be able to just toggle into full screen, get a closer look at things without having to wait 5 seconds each time. And then the puzzles have their separate numbering, 1 and 2. Why do these look the same? I thought I made them visually distinct. So, work in progress. Anyway, none of this is actually wired up yet. I can't, like, you know, if I click this, nothing happens. But it does show at least the number and status of the encounter that it corresponds to. The way this little layout was made, let me see what I did for the other ones. So if I go to, like, sure, I can show this. Yeah, so those are just laid out 1, 2, 3 like that. There we go, full screen mode. Showcase scenario probably just has, yeah, way up in the corner. This is where the upper left bound of the thing is. UI limit stress test probably has one in each corner. No, it just goes all the way across. Okay, so this is as far over as you can go. I didn't go all the way to the bottom. I should have this way down here. So you see like the full bounds of what one map zone is. Anyway, so yeah, the idea is, you know, you'd start your scenario, be in like, I don't know, the plains or something, and maybe you could, after you clear a few encounters on the plains, you'd find an entrance to the caves, for example. So you'd like go into this thing down here, which would be not an encounter you could enter. You know, clicking this would bring up something like this. With a little more information about what's up with the encounter. Oh yeah, so you're seeing a thing there that I'll talk about in a moment. So, ooh, there's a thing I need to change there. Okay, my full screen keyboard input should not put me into keyboard mode. So right, the layout of this is determined by data in the encounters. So each encounter just has a position on the map, and I have a check at load to make sure that it's impossible to have 2 encounters on the same tile. just so you can't have something where, you know, one's hidden by the other. So that is actually invalid data. You can technically express it in here, but the game will refuse to load it if you do that. So right, a map zone would be like the plains, the caves, you know, instead of clicking on this, you'd click here and go over to another canvas of things here, which might have its own background. You know, it can change for a cave-looking background instead of an outdoor-looking one, for example. So that's what a map zone is. Oh, hang on, now I have color groups here. Well, yeah, but isn't this in a separate color group? That's why I thought these were different. This is in the puzzle color group, right? So, yeah, the color of... color group default. 1 half half. So that would be this color, right? Okay, so maybe I just don't even have that implemented. Like, it's supposed to draw these squares in the color that's specified here, which is why I thought the puzzles, which use the puzzle color group, right? Yeah, they do. Were supposed to be distinct, but apparently I'm only drawing a blue color if something's clear, and that's what I'm doing, right? So, like, if I go in and clear this, if I can remember how, if the game even works this well, you know, it's been a bit since I even, like, did this much here. This should be fine. Do I remember how to solve this encounter? Again, it's been a bit. What do I have? I have a potion. That is fine. You have fire. Fire does those things. This screen needs so much work. Just cast fire on everybody. There we go. You attack, and then potion, and then attack, I think. Something like that. You'll die, but the mage will get it done, I think. Oh dear, did I just crash? I did! Okay, so that part of the game does not work, as it turns out. Alright. I've broken things apart so much that I can't even go into an encounter. Alright, well, let's not worry about that part of the game then. Yeah, all of my work lately has been on, like, this screen, this screen, this screen, this screen. Oh boy. So, anyway, let's not worry about that too much. Work in progress, so got a little status light for unseen. This means the same thing as this. Stars showing up behind that. That doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look good. I might have like a different status light in another corner, or a different color of this or something for cleared ones, or just the different background color. I don't know. Figuring it out as I go along. Anyway, yeah, so that's a layout in a map zone. That's how those things are organized right now. So, while I've been working on that, another thing was bothering me, and I just decided to take a detour and fix it. So this menu cursor here that I've had for a while had some behaviors I didn't like. There are just all these little things I felt the need to do to polish it up. I want input to feel extremely good, because like 99% of this game is menuing. So interacting with the menus needs to feel really good and be super polished and just responsive and happy, and everything's great. So the cursor that points at... I got a real good suggestion to make this highlight state show up when the cursor is pointing at a thing. I haven't done that yet, but I do like that, and I'm going to. The cursor fades out when I start moving my mouse, and then disappears if I actually use my mouse to interact with the thing. So like if I'm using a mouse or a touchscreen, if for some reason I deploy this game to a place where you use a touchscreen to interact with it, then the cursor just isn't even there, because there's nothing to point at. You know, I have my own pointer right here. But if so it can switch between modes. It used to be that right now, I don't even know, what was the last thing the cursor was pointing at? Was it encounters or the back button or something? It used to be that if I'd press enter, or, you know, my gamepad accept button or whatever, the cursor would just, whatever it was invisibly pointing at, since it's now not shown in mouse mode, would just select that option and do its action. So I decided I really need to change that. So if I press the accept button, or press any gamepad or keyboard input right now when I'm in mouse mode, it just shows the cursor. And when I show the cursor, I really want an animation so you can see where it is on screen. So I'm going to press a button now. Okay, so the cursor popped in right there. It was indeed on the back button. That means there's a thing I need to change, because the last thing I clicked was collection here. Ooh, I see that. So you're appearing there. All right, that's a thing I can fix. What's supposed to happen is I click collection, then like if I press a gamepad button here, let's do it here. I click collection, I press a button, yeah, and now it's on available champions. So it did this animation where it starts, here, let me position you over here. Then I'll like click this, go back, press button. Yeah, so it starts fully transparent at triple scale, then scales down, gaining opacity until it gets to where it's going at full opacity. Let's see, if I move my mouse and then like I make an input that doesn't go anywhere, I'm going to steer left now. Okay, that does go somewhere. Never mind. There, that one's not connected. So if I steer up now, oops, if I steer up now, it just fades back in real quick. Or if I steer down, it moves and fades. Anyway, so this cursor right here, the one you see, is you know, part of my sprite sheet. It looks like this. And, you know, I can't just draw this at a larger size without it looking all blocky and bad, especially if I'm interpolating between 3x scale and normal scale. So that wasn't going to work. So I had to figure out something that was going to look smooth as it interpolates inward. So let's recompile this with a change. So for testing, I went over to where I have a lot of files open here. I have too many files open here. What even is this? This is X audio stuff. Right, okay, so I haven't gotten to changing my audio API, but don't worry about that too much. That's not today. It should be someday, sometime, but I don't want to think about it. It's exhausting. WGL shell, yeah, sure. So that's Windows API glue, game screen. This is the one I want, I think. Yes. All right, so cursor fade duration, also used for the rest of the animation. I'm going to set this to 5.1825 seconds instead of a lot less. So if I recompile with a 5-second animation time, I can see much more clearly what's going on with that little zoom in animation thing. I made some optimizations to my build system, so it goes a little faster now. Still needs to do more, but you know, that's a tolerable amount of time. Debug 132, Foresight Fight. Okay, so now if I can't on a single screen. I don't really have a good way to switch between mouse and keyboard mode. But like if I go here, press the button. Oh, okay, there it goes. Yes. So you can see that's how it actually looks while it's interpolating. It does sort of a little. Oh right, and the fade out that it does when I'm going to mouse mode also is slow. So it's very slow. Oh, in slow motion, that doesn't look as good as... this is platform specific because OpenGL is weird. So that's what it looks like slow. It looks fine fast. Oh, I'm going to have to tweak this now. All right, that's fine. It's not great, but that's what'll be happening. So this looks a heck of a lot better than it did before. I made several attempts at making this work, so let's start with... No, not native audio. I'm not doing audio stuff right now. You keep wanting me to do audio stuff, but I don't want to. I need to, but I don't want to. So let's comment out all of this. Yeah, that should make sense. So let's just draw this graphic at whatever size I'm drawing. And see what that looks like. So, you know, that's what I started with. Of course, it's going to be pixelated as it draws at the larger size, because that's made for drawing at the size you normally see it, not the enlarged one. All right, so I still have slow animation. I go here, Where's my cursor? There it is. Yeah, so that looks like how you'd expect it to look. Not great, but it's how you'd expect it. That's not as bad as I thought, but like those in-between states where, like this is 2 pixels wide, this is 1 pixel tall, it doesn't look good. I was not at all satisfied with that. So I thought, all right, let's try doing that by drawing a double size one of these and using that as my, the thing that I draw while I'm scaling down. This was back when I had this, doing this at double size instead of triple size. Let's put it actually back to that. This number's in a bad place. Where is it kept? I should know it when I see it, but I'm not seeing it. So I'm not knowing it. All right, where are you? Cursor scale. It's not here? No, it's not. That's why I'm not seeing it, because it's not in the source file. It's in this one. Cursor scale. All right, so just change this 3 to a 2, and that'll be double size. All right, so this will be double size. So I've temporarily put this menu pointer 2x in here so that I can draw it instead of the other one. So this is what I did. So draw menu pointer 2x if it's scaled greater and menu pointer if it's not. So let's see what that looks like. This was better, like the one frame where it draws it at double size looks great. The one frame where it draws it at normal size looks great. But everything in between still leaves a lot to be desired. Just because, it's a 22.5 degree diagonal line drawn with sharp pixels at both of the sizes where it's visible. So yeah, still all jaggedy. It's a tiny bit better, but not great. Also, the way it kind of scales, it shrunk vertically, then horizontally, vertically, horizontally, vertically, horizontally. Those didn't happen together. That is because I have this set to pixel snapping mode. So in my Texture Atlas Get Vertices implementation, it pays attention to this parameter and just rounds the numbers, the locations of what it's drawing to whole numbers. So without rounding to whole numbers, I can get half pixel borders, and this will scale down a little bit more smoothly. Yeah, this compilation is still a little too slow for what I'm trying to do here. Here, let me, just so I don't have to keep changing directories, let's do this. Whoops, no, I want this. Main app, debug Win32, Foresight Fight, You'll open your own little window there. Okay, so, no, I need to click here to put it into mouse mode. Or here, let me just do this. Click here, press button. So it's scaling down a little more smoothly now. You can't see that gray against the mountain background as well. Okay, so let me go back to where I was. So yeah, using half pixels. So that's a start, but like it's still all jaggedy. So I decided I would try a different kind of interpolation. So it's using nearest neighbor texture interpolation. So, it's like, is there a way I can show this here in this program? I'm going to paste this as a new document. So, right now this is a pixel. So if I were to scale this to twice its size and use no interpolation. So, this is nearest neighbor interpolation. This is a pixel now. This is 4 pixels here. If I were to scale it to something that's not an integer multiple, that's where you get these weird jaggedy edges. So, you know, this is 2 pixels tall now. This is 1 pixel tall, and it looks super terrible. So, like, this is the in-between state I'm trying to avoid. This, like, awkward, icky, like, jaggedy line here. So one option is you can scale up using, say, 20. Linear interpolation, for example. It's blurry, but it's smoother. You know, at least that gives the impression of a diagonal line. It's still super blurry, though. So what that would look like... So that's scaling up this artwork. If I would instead scale down the 2x size one... So let's scale this to... Whoa. Cancel that. Scale this to 20, for example, using linear interpolation. It doesn't look much different, really. It is different, but it doesn't look much different. So like compare these two. Yeah, no, that is a big difference. This one looks much better than this does, but it's still not right. Okay, so what that would look like... I had to add another whole feature to my, this is what it's like to write your own game framework for this stuff. Had to add another whole feature to my texture packer, which I was making changes to make it faster anyway, so this was fine. It wasn't a big thing. So that my texture atlas would use a linear filter for minification. So if I don't use nearest neighbor for that, hold on, but this is magnification, so let's set that also to false. So let's see the difference. We're still drawing this scaled up instead of this scaled down. Did you compile? Probably. I'm unconvinced, but let's try it. I didn't see it happen, but I assume it did. All right, so click, click, press. Yeah, okay. So it looks really bad right in the transition from like, looks kind of fine now. Right here, it's blurry and icky, and I kind of saw, like, something in my texture atlas that was to the right of this, just because of the way interpolation works. So yeah, I don't really like the way that is. It's a little smoother, but it's not great. And even if I am drawing the, that's right, I am drawing the minified larger one, because I did actually change this to that. So anyway, I decided, well, okay, fine, none of that is working, so let's take a drastically different approach, and instead, let's just draw, using OpenGL primitives, this shape. So I'm going to draw a white triangle here, then on top of it, sort of a black quad that goes from here to here to here to here, and then a gray quad that goes here, 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 and one that goes here, 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 and here. Okay, so let's do that. That's what all this code is. Why is this question mark still here? I fixed all this. All right, I just didn't remove the question mark. So I'll disable the texture atlas drawing entirely and just draw, actually, for every scale, what is happening? Bad things I don't like. Okay, so for any... What? I'm in insert mode? How did that happen? I didn't press the insert key. Text editors. I just want to comment this out. There we go. Okay, so no matter what I am, don't worry about what this code looks like. It's just shifting a bunch of vertices around, drawing the primitives. So The problem with drawing primitives instead of using an actual bitmap piece of art is that OpenGL's rounding will just do like whatever the platform decides to do with it. So, you know, if I put a vertex here, 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 and here, who's to say that it's going to decide to do a ramp like this and not one like this instead? You know, those are both valid answers to that. Well, kind of. Those end at a different place. But, you know, like, I don't get such fine control over that. But, for example, if I was drawing that, you know, I might get that. I might get this. I might get something else entirely. Just because this is a diagonal line that doesn't, you know, just the way it snaps 2 pixels is a little unpredictable. So, like, I can move by half pixels and stuff, try to get it to decide to round to the places that I want for each thing. And it turns out that that's kind of good enough for the in-between states. If I just draw... Man, look at that mangled thing. That just looks sad. So yeah, this is drawing... Yeah, so you can see the white triangle here on Windows is snapping to a weird place. I'm not seeing as much of the gray up there as I would expect to, and I'm seeing a lot of black. Wish I could zoom in on this a little more, but I don't have an easy way to do that. Yes, I do. I totally do. Do I need to? Sure, let's do it. Here is a screenshot on my desktop, dumped out by the game at its native resolution. So what that cursor ended up looking like was this. Yeah, okay, so I've lost some pixels up here just because it decided to round this thin line, rounded all the way down to 0. This thin line rounded up to greater than 1 here. This is too tall. So yeah, like that's how OpenGL decided to draw my my thing. On a Mac, this looks different. This is the Windows implementation of OpenGL. On Linux, it probably looked like something else. On Android, it looked like something else. It just does whatever it wants. So, you know, per platform, I could like move half pixels around and try to get it to behave right in each place. So my compromise for now is just to have it, if my scale is greater than 1, if I'm drawing a larger version of this, I'll do it with the OpenGL primitive thing. If it's not, then I'm just going to draw the way I had been doing it. Pixel snapped, menu pointer at 1x. So I'll show you what that looks like right now. I am, of course, going to have to tweak this because Windows OpenGL rounds that way, and it looks not super great. But this was the closest I could get with what I had. So yeah, that is the nonsense that I've been working on for the last couple of days. Wait, no, I have to do this, and then I can do that. So right, OpenGL primitives being drawn here, and then it just snaps to the that cursor. Doesn't look super great, but you know, it could be worse. Where's my thing? Oh yeah, my cursor is nowhere, because right now I have a bug that makes it go nowhere when I return to this. Okay. Man, everything's all wrong. So yeah, that's what the animation looks like. There's still a little bit of a snap right when it gets to the 1x size. I can make it a bit smoother. Also, this does kind of lock me into this exact artwork for that because I'm constructing it with OpenGL primitives. If I were to draw something different for this cursor, then I would have to completely redo the code in here. So I don't know. I still just honestly don't have a good solution to this. This is the closest that I have right now. I'm going to tweak this so that it draws something that's a little closer to this than this currently is. Because, you know, this gets the general shape. It's just, it's a little off. You know, that should be a gray pixel, so should that. This should be a white pixel. This should be a gray pixel. What is even going on down here? How did you manage to do this? And, you know, 5 pixels in a row here? Like, what even is this? But only 2 here. Like, this is supposed to be a straight line, but that's nothing resembling a straight line. So who knows what OpenGL decided to do here. I don't know. I could like write a custom shader to write this, to draw this cursor at different sizes. But at some point, I have to just say, it's good enough. I'm not going to make it like absolutely perfect for every single frame of that animation when you only see it for, less than a fifth of a second at, right, this is supposed to be 3x scale, at the default speed. So yeah, I could continue improving this, or I could spend my time on things that actually matter more. This stuff does matter to me. Like, it probably shouldn't as much as it does, but it does. So yeah, that's a little peek into my world when I decide to get fixated on something like that. So let's look at what this looks like at normal size with 3x scale, at normal speed with 3x scale, normal speed, normal size. So I go here, I click this, I press a button, and that looks fine. Like, you can't even tell that anything is going wrong. At that speed, at that size, it looks fine. So yeah, that is good enough. I will still tweak it so that Windows OpenGL behaves a little bit better. Get those gray pixels in there, but it's fine. It's fine. You can see it. It's fine. I'm trying to convince myself, and it's not working. All right. Anyway, so that's a peek into my madness. I'll see you next time for map screen improvements, I hope.